where the bad pianos start to show. Keys all out of tune, just watch them go. Welcome to Adam and Joe talking nonsense on the Outside Scoop podcast show.
Episode 7.
Episode 7 of the Outside Scoop.
With me, Joe.
And me, Adam.
Hi.
He's Joe. And hi, I'm Adam.
So, we are episode 7.
Episode 7. Who'd have thought it? Aren't we in like the top 1% of podcasts
Exactly where I was going. So,
Oh,
we're in rarefied
Wow.
company now.
You're special people listening to this, you know. You're included in that 1%.
Yeah, we are in the 1% of podcasters.
Wow. Well, if only we were in the 1% of earners.
Yeah. We are in the bottom.
The bottom, yeah, 0.5%.
Yeah, bottom 0.5% of that 1%.
Oh,
But we're up there.
but we're there.
We're up there. They say that in order to have a successful podcast, you just got to keep pumping it out.
Keep doing it.
Just keep doing it, regardless of the views, the subscribers. Please subscribe.
Like and share.
If we get 1,000 subscribers, we might earn some money.
Yeah, it would be a bit handy, that would. We could buy some microphones that don't sound all crackly.
Oh, that'd be lovely, wouldn't it?
It'd be nice to get, like on, what's it called? The Rest is Politics with Alistair Campbell and Rory Stewart.
Yeah.
I know it's on a set, but a lot of these places, they have these boom mics that they run across the desk and then up.
Yeah.
And then like the proper microphone. Because at the moment we are running on, they're called Pseudo Track.
Pseudo track.
They are, I think is it £45 of your finest Chinese podcasting equipment?
Yeah, something like that.
It's doing alright.
Does the job.
The
Records
job
our
is
voice.
done.
Yeah.
You get to listen to our voices.
And that's all that matters at the moment.
But
But yeah, no, we're in the top 1%. And if you then go to like 50 episodes, you're like in the top 1% of 1%.
0.01.
Yeah.
That-
Just in terms of content, not in
So
terms of...
you lot are getting at least 50 episodes because now it's a competition and Joe's quite competitive. So
With silly little things like this.
yeah, with silly things. If it's important, he couldn't care less.
Yeah.
But
No, but it was a menial little,
yeah,
chuck out 50 episodes
yeah,
of you
he
chatting.
wants to be in the 0.01% of
Yeah.
podcasters
Put that on your CV.
and take home your 29 grand a year.
This time next year, boys. We're on 28.5 grand.
Oh, imagine it.
Such riches.
Oh wow.
So, yeah, and it's a funny thing is podcasting malarkey. Because it is just us chatting, isn't it?
This is how we're not doing anything different
No.
apart from not talking when the microphones aren't in front of
we've
us now.
decided to not talk.
Yeah.
Because if we start talking, we're not recording it.
Yeah, we have to record this.
Yeah.
Mainly, even if we don't get to the 0.01%ers,
Yeah.
it's mainly for our own prosperity.
Yeah.
It's mainly so that, because YouTube won't go away until the EMPs hit. So one day, somebody in 50 years' time will go, "What's this nonsense?"
Exactly.
And they go, "That's what life was like."
That was all. Yeah, this is a time machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the equivalent of burying some toys in a schoolyard and
Yeah.
digging them up 10 years later because they think that's a long time.
And I can't stress how unscripted this is.
The most that we script, being frank, is we might go, "What are we talking about in this episode?" before we press record.
But that's like
But
10
that's
seconds
it.
before.
Yeah, 10 seconds before. In fact, sometimes it happens when I press record and Joe goes, "Right, this." Or I'll go, "Shall we do this?"
And we just talk.
And we just get on with
Yeah.
it.
Sometimes we might have, in the back of our heads, we've got an idea what we might talk about, so I've just got
Yeah.
a couple of pointers on the notepad, but I haven't shared that information with Adam and
No,
vice versa.
No. And I don't even have a notepad. I just, let's do this.
Yeah.
So on that subject, this week is fishing.
Angling!
Angling. Whoa, we have some quite deep history in angling.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Where do you want to start?
Well, from the beginning, I
From the
imagine.
beginning. Oh my god.
When was your first fishing experience?
So I have several firsts with fishing. My first memory of fishing was going with my dad and my grandpa, and who was it? And my sister. I think my sister was there, and I think there's a picture of us. My sister Rachel, she couldn't have been 3 years. I think she might have been 3, which made me 5. And all I actually remember is, I think it was a fishing lake in Hadley. I don't remember the name of the fishing lake. I think it was a reservoir, but it was a fishing lake in Hadley. And all I actually remember is getting a piggyback through some stinging nettles because I was a bit too scared to walk through them. Thinking back to it, it's like it was probably nothing. But being 5 years old, I was like, oh no, I don't want to walk through that. And I remember getting a piggyback off my grandfather.
Yeah.
That's my first memory fishing, but I don't really remember it. Knowing my dad, I'd have definitely done something. I'm not setting rigs up and I'm not doing anything like that. But I will have reeled a fish in. I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
Because that's my dad. If my dad's not throwing you in at the deep end, my dad's not really taking you out to do anything. So
a roach or a perch or something like that.
It's going to have been a little roach or a rudd, isn't it? You know. I do remember. I've never fished a match before, but I remember the first match in my memory of my dad.
Yeah.
And that was, again, it was this reservoir, but they had like a fishing lake and then a match pool. And I remember going around measuring with all the anglers, measuring the keep nets that everybody had.
And if you're not into fishing, a match is what it sounds like. It's a competition.
It's a competition to catch most fish.
And it's done by weight.
In amount of time. It can be done by weight. It can be done by... Well, yeah, usually it's done by weight, but there are other things you can do, aren't there? What about you? First memory of fishing?
My first memory of fishing, I think it was probably actually going out with you guys for a day.
Really?
Yeah, I think it was going out so I say you guys, so you, your sister, your brother, your dad, your mum. There's probably other members of your family there on that day. It usually entailed a hot day at a local pool, park.
Like a park pond somewhere.
And just a few hours in the afternoon, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I think that's probably... I've got a photo of it somewhere.
Right.
And I think that was my kind of first time fishing. So I would have been about 12.
Well, so Joe and I met. We're taking a little walk down memory lane here, aren't we? Joe and I met in senior school. We went to different primary schools, but we met in senior school.
Shout out Cecil Jones.
Cecil Jones.
Blah, blah.
Oh my god. Yeah, we were in the same tutor group.
Yeah.
And we just kind of hit it off, didn't we?
Yeah.
We just kind of like, yeah, you'll do. You could be a mate of mine.
Yeah.
We both. He says.
Yeah.
He says, yeah.
I had other prospects at the time.
As if I was the one who latched onto him. This is a story about him coming fishing with me, so you know.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, I think that's the first time, and quickly.
So yeah, it would have been about 12 years old, wouldn't it?
Quickly went down bait and tackle on South Church Road.
Yeah.
Was it South Church Road?
Yeah, South Church, just round the back of Porter's Grange.
Yeah. And bought myself. I think it was 20 quid that set up.
What? So you had a
that
little
blue
Darwin
rod.
reel.
Yeah.
And that blue fiberglass rod.
Yeah.
Still got it.
A few floats, a few bits and pieces. The old man behind the counter sorted me out. It was just like...
Yeah, he sorted you out 20 quid's worth of bits and pieces, didn't he?
And, oh, no.
No?
No, I think my first setup,
Yeah.
now I'm thinking about it, was an Argos Special.
Of course it was.
Telescopic rods.
Telescopic rod.
Came in a lovely little black case.
Little black... Ah.
Silver rod, red reel.
Yeah.
It came with floats.
Everything was in that box. There was everything you needed not to go fishing in that box.
And I loved it.
Yeah, it was
I
great.
loved it. And I think that was 20 quid.
Yeah.
I did spend 20 quid in bait and tackle, but no, that was that was my first one.
Yeah,
and I brought that box a few times.
Did ya?
Yeah, because I broke the rod.
Because you keep breaking rod because those rods broke.
They broke.
Yeah.
And I brought that a few times because I just loved it.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought it was a fucking tits.
It's a good little thing because it was a tackle box, wasn't it? It was a tackle box about probably no more than 13 inches long by 6. Oh, my phone beep. Sorry, everyone. By 6 to 8 inches deep, but Everything was in it.
Yeah.
So you could take that little box to school
Yeah.
and then run down the Priory Park and avoid the bailiff.
Had your little shots in there.
Yeah.
Lead shot, that is, not alcoholic shots. But yeah, I think that's my first time fishing was that, and it was with you lot, and I bought that Argos set, and then we would have gone down Priory Park and made a right mess of everything.
Would have been tangled and all messed up.
And then kind of went from there, really. I think my course fishing career, if I can call it a career, but you know what I mean, would have only been maybe a year before we got into carp fishing.
So for those who don't know, this is all my dad's fault.
All of it.
All of it is my dad's fault.
Simon.
Yeah.
It is your fault.
You know who you are. It was probably a year or 18 months. It was about 12 years old. His senior school started at 12.
Oh. No, 9 o'clock in the morning. Hey! Or was it 8:30? God knows.
Oh no. We were never there for it, that's for sure.
Let me think. So Bertie's 9, he's 10 this year. He goes into year 6 next year, so he'll be 11, 12. Yeah.
11, 12. So 11, 12 years old. The reason why I'm saying this is because when we were 14, when I was 14, you'd have been 15, was our first trip to France.
Mm.
So this is not talking about whens, this is just getting the timeline in place. So you'd have been course fishing for about 18 months, I reckon.
Yeah.
Yeah. About 18 months. We had some great times, but you never really... Again, I was in the fortunate position that my dad used to take me fishing.
Yeah.
And you wasn't always able to come along. But we did do a lot of fishing down Doggets, didn't we?
We went fishing down Doggets a lot. I went to Priory Park a lot, whether it was with you or with this other mate that we had at the time.
About Aaron.
And Aaron, his name.
Yeah.
And so he kind of got into fishing a little bit after I did.
Yeah.
And so we'd go fishing a fair bit if you weren't about. And that tended to be course fishing.
Mm.
He liked his ledger.
He did like ledgering, didn't he?
Yeah, he liked ledgering. I was a floater.
Mm.
I could never get on with poles. I never liked pole fishing.
Pole fishing's quite awkward.
Yeah.
Pole fishing is like, compared to rod fishing. So rod fishing is a rod and a reel, wind the line in and out. Pole fishing, you've got a fixed length of line on the end. Pole fishing is a scalpel.
Yeah.
Whereas, yeah, I would say pole fishing is a scalpel. Rod fishing is, you could probably say it's like a rifle. It's aimed, but it's still, yeah. But then we'll get to it. Carp fishing is just like shotgunning or machine gunning. It's just throw it out there and hope.
And hope.
And that's what carp. That's my impression of it now, anyway.
So yeah, would have spent 12, 18 months course fishing, and then I think maybe your dad was showing us stuff, or we watched one of these videos.
Well,
and we
the
went,
videos.
What is that fish?
Yeah,
look at the size of that.
So we would have watched. It's going to be the Fox Guide to Advanced Carp Fishing.
Shout out Matt Hayes.
Matt Hayes and Max Cottis.
Yeah.
A couple of lads.
I love those videos.
We wore them out.
The Millennium Guide to Carp Fishing by Fox Tackle or something like that.
Yeah, and there was also the Angling Times Guide to Course Fishing and the Angling Times Guide to Carp Fishing. Was it Andy... I want to say Andy Chambers. Who's Andy Chambers? Am I making that name up from somewhere else?
You see, you had Bob Rudd. There wasn't Andy something.
His name was Bob Rudd, wasn't it?
Yeah.
In the course fishing one.
Yeah.
Oh, he was great.
Bob Rudd.
Bob Rudd. Of course he was a fisherman, wasn't he? Of course he was an angler.
But those were magical days, I think. Carp fishing particularly, because it was still
just
fairly
fishing.
early kind of...
Just fishing. All fishing was a magical thing for us then.
The carp industry wasn't what it is now.
It wasn't as...
commercialised.
Corporate, commercialised. It was somewhat, but it also... I think social media has poisoned it.
Yeah.
You know, it's not about just going fishing. People say it is, but you tend to find the people, I just like to go and sit down the bank, are the ones who get the hump when they don't catch, and they've got 4 wheelbarrows of gear.
Yeah.
You know, it's too much stuff.
Too much stuff. Should be lightweight. But so let's go back to the early days
So
when
we go
we were
to the
fishing.
beginning. I'll just give you another first.
Yeah.
I remember my first fishing setup, and the day fishing. I remember that, but I don't remember the lake. Don't remember the name of the lake. It was a lake in Hanningfield, I think, next to the reservoir. It was a little donut lake. Was it Donut Lake? No, I don't know. Anyway, it was one of those lakes that had been dug out either side with little channels and a big island in the middle. My first setup was the full fat kingfisher setup from Argos. It was the full fat float rod, ledger rod, a kingfisher reel, and a full box of fishing tackle that was no good to no one.
Yeah.
You had all the fishing gear not to go fishing with.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And I remember, do you remember we used to set our gear up in the back garden?
Yeah.
So we used to do this. We would be talking like this without microphones.
Yeah.
With our fishing gear on all the bank sticks and everything.
Yeah.
Set up in the back garden.
Pretending to fish.
Not fishing, pretending to fish. Yeah.
Still catching the same amount we would catch anyway.
Yeah. We were never very good at fishing.
Never accomplished fisherman.
And before I ever took my float rod out, my brother dropped his scooter on the tip on the tip ring. My first float rod was broken before I even put line in it.
Yeah.
But it didn't matter because my dad he knows how to fix this stuff. It's part of what he does.
Yeah, and he had the vast collection of gear, didn't he?
Still has.
Still has. So let's go back to the first time we went to France. I think that may be the 4th or 5th time I might have gone carp fishing the first time we went to France.
I remember my dad took us to another lake. And he said to us, right, we're using this as a trial run for going to France. And we basically messed it up, didn't we? We basically messed it up. Yeah, we just did everything wrong.
Yeah.
But there was a hell of a storm that came in.
Was it that one? Was it that reservoir?
That reservoir that we went to.
God blimey.
That was a storm, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because your bivvy basically collapsed. And you jumped into mine.
Yeah.
With me. I think you still had the side of the tent twatting you in the face all day long. Or all night long.
Yeah. Was that in the Shakespeare Cypri Dome?
Yeah.
What a tent. What a bivvy.
It's a great place to be.
My favourite bivvy of all time, that.
Yeah.
I still rate it. I think it was a great design.
Yeah. The only trouble with it was the entrance to it was quite small, wasn't it? Because it didn't have a porch door as such. It just... The dome, the outer cover just came to a triangle point, and your entrance was through the triangle.
Yeah.
A great tent, though.
Yeah.
Great bivvy.
Yeah, it's lovely that. So anyway, we somehow passed that test, even though we failed miserably.
I remember my dad going, well, you two have messed up, haven't you? We felt quite sorry for ourselves.
And so we end up going, I think I told the teacher I was ill or something, or I just didn't turn up for school that week.
We just didn't turn up for school that week, because it was the week before... half-term holiday.
Something like that.
Yeah. We just went fishing.
And we went to it was called GTS Tours.
Oh my god, GTS Tours! What a scam they were running.
How exciting it was though. So I'm at your house. We get up nice and early.
Yeah.
I jump in the car with Clive. You jump in the car with your dad.
Yeah. Well, the cars are full of fishing gear.
And we drive down to.
I think my dad and Clive had been to France. There'd definitely been once.
Maybe twice.
Yeah. But they weren't veterans at it whatsoever at this point.
So yeah, full of tackle, 2 cars. We drive down. I remember it. I thought it was brilliant. That drive down, the sun rising. It was a warm day.
Yeah. I still remember the A13 and the sun rising.
Yeah.
It was just like, here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go, boys. This is...
Clive had his music on, and that was just banging.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the tracks, but I remember the feeling anyway.
Yeah.
And we get to Folkestone, and was that a ferry? Was it?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
so we would have gotten a minibus, wouldn't we?
Minibus with a trailer,
Yeah.
wasn't it? And we did exactly that. We minibus with a trailer, loaded this trailer up, and then what was there? Must have been 10 other blokes.
Yeah.
10 other blokes on this bucket of an old transit van minibus, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get on the ferry.
On the ferry.
Get off
First
the ferry.
time we'd have been on this ferry,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Like, look at this, we're on a big boat.
This is cool.
A real boat.
Yeah.
What's this about?
Get off in France. Bonjour.
Yeah. Like, we're in France at this point going, this is why they teach us French. Right. Bugger. That's 4 years I haven't paid any attention. And I wish I had.
And then the minibus needed to get fuel.
That was the worst thing, is that the minibus was filling up with fuel and we all went, I can smell petrol.
It smells like English petrol.
They've
They've got English petrol here, Barbara.
petrol. We're all going, it smells like petrol. In a transit van.
Yeah.
So what was it? Not a mile down the road. Not a mile down the road. Yeah, and then it conks out. Oh, what's going on here? Obviously filled up with the wrong petrol, or the wrong fuel. And it was hours. I don't know where GTS Tours is. When I say they're lakes, they were public lakes that we paid to go and fish on. What we paid for is a bloke to cook us dinner in a caravan for a week and for them to get us there and back again.
Yeah.
That's what was paid for. And it was hours and hours. It was like a 3-4 hour delay getting to the lake.
And this was back when there was no mobile phones.
Well, there were mobile phones, but they weren't.
Not what we know today.
There was no internet.
Yeah.
Mobile internet. There was internet, but it was a white box in the corner of your dining room, wasn't it?
So.
And to use your phone abroad was like, how much is? What's this, like £5 a minute, a pound? Who knows how much this is going to cost?
So they didn't know who to call, how to do it.
No.
What do you do when you break down in France with the wrong fuel in your tank?
What do you do about it?
And I can't remember how we got there now. What happened? Did they send another bus? Did they hire a bus?
No. What they did is
did they fix that one?
Yeah, they must have rung recovery.
Yeah.
This bloke in a recovery truck of sorts. I think it was another van. He towed us. So it was his van towing the minibus that was towing the trailer. He towed us.
Oh my god, that's so dodgy.
Yeah. And he towed us. I don't know how. I mean, this was so long ago. Actually,
Yeah.
it was 20 years ago. This
Yeah.
was. So I don't remember the exact timings, but it felt like hours and hours trailing us back to going back to his workshop.
It was a full day, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a full day. He then siphoned out all the petrol, which then makes you think, did he win a tank of petrol that day? I think he probably did. And then put some diesel in it.
Yeah.
I remember still stopping off to get diesel, but yeah, he then put diesel in it, and then we were on our way. But it felt like it was hours of delays. Yeah, and then we got to the lake.
Yeah.
And we had no idea what we were doing.
Biggest lake we've ever seen.
It looked like looking at the Thames estuary.
Yeah.
It was insane.
Was it 20, 30 acres?
I couldn't tell you.
I don't think it was more than 40, was it?
I don't know. 20 acres probably feels about right, but I just remember looking at it going, it's huge.
Cast to the horizon, boys.
Yeah. If you feel like you're casting far enough, try again.
Yeah.
That was insane. I remember. So I was always fortunate because my dad.
Yeah.
The way that things went is my dad bought the fishing gear. When he then bought new fishing gear, he gave me the old fishing gear. And then when that happened again and I got his old fishing gear again, Joe then bought the fishing gear not off of me, he gave the money to my dad.
Yeah.
But he then bought the fishing gear off of my dad. But yeah, I mean, it was more of a. You never paid the right money for anything. It was always cheap.
Yeah,
wasn't it? It was always. Well, I always remember it being cheap.
I remember my setup. It was a proper hodgepodge of different bits and pieces, wasn't it?
We had, wasn't it? Because it was all fishing in France, we needed to take everything. So
I think I had 3 different swingers. I think I had the same. I had one alarm set. No. I had one Fox Micron, and I had 2 on a speaker box.
Because in England, we always fished 2 rods, didn't we? Because of the licensing. But in France, it was, we need 3 rods now. How do we sort out 3 rods? And yeah, yours was put together out of everything we had.
Yeah.
So you had a Fox. I can't remember the name of the pod.
I think it was an A pod.
Was it an A pod? So the pod is what holds your rods. Like,
Yeah.
That's the frame that it all screws onto. And but you also had what they call goalpost buzz bars.
Yeah.
And the buzz bars are what holds your alarms, that holds your rods. So Joe had this rod pod with his buzz bars and bank sticks holding in the goalpost, didn't you?
It was solid.
That thing, you could stand on that thing
That
and
was
it would be
solid.
fine. You could tow a Range Rover out of the lake and you would not have had a problem.
In fact, I think Fox even saw that pod and
went,
built the X pod based on that.
Oh, hang on a minute. This bloke's got an idea.
Was it X or was it a Quattro pod or?
Quattro.
Was that what it was?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. That was a great pod.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Yeah,
That's
I like that.
got memory. I had, because of my dad, I had a solar sod pod with the triple brace bank stick things. 14 years old, and I'm fishing with
What was hundreds of pounds of
hundreds
equipment?
of pounds of stainless steel
Yeah.
bloody pod equipment. I don't remember what rods and reels we had. I had Dawa Emblem S's.
Were you fishing the Centuries or were they your dad's
Yeah,
still?
no, that was
or?
it. Yeah, no, that was exactly it.
Yeah.
So I was fishing Dawa Emblem S's
Yeah.
and Century. No, not Century. Free Spirit Tamers.
Tamers.
That's
the
what
Tamers.
I had Free Spirit Tamers, didn't I? 'Cause
Yeah.
I think my dad had Century rods at that point.
Yeah.
And you was fishing.
Shimano Hyperloops.
Did you have the Shimano Hyperloop?
The Shimano
Oh,
Hyperloops.
that was a terrible rod.
I didn't mind it actually. It was
Did you
really
not?
whippy.
Well, I think because my dad bought me those Hyperloops.
Yeah.
And then I think we gave them to you. I don't know if we gave them or you bought them for a nominal fee.
I think he gave me. I think I bought one off him, and then he took me down to. Is it called Southend Angling by the pier?
Yeah, I think so.
Was that what it was called? And he took me
Yeah.
down there to get the other ones
Yeah.
to get the set. And
Hang on, there's a car alarm.
that's not us, is it?
Yeah, so it wasn't a terrible setup. It
Yeah.
was a good setup for considering we were 14 and 15
Yeah.
years old and with no money.
Yeah.
No money.
Yeah.
Like you did a few bits and pieces. I did a few bits and pieces, but nothing like you did. And
Yeah.
we just managed to scratch that money together to do the things we did.
I remember. So we're there. We're fishing. We're casting out.
Sorry, Shimano Hyperloops.
Shimano Hyperloops, yeah.
You went to go and buy them with my dad.
Yeah, I got those. And then I remember him breaking one as well in his car. We put him in on. I can't remember who put him in, but he shut the boot and the tip snapped off. I think this was after France, so this was a number of years after.
Right.
And by that point, it was time to get the Fox Warriors
Powerful.
at the time. But so yeah, I'm fishing. You're fishing. We're there. We got there late. The toilet is literally a hole in the ground.
The toilet was a 4-foot pit dug in the ground
Proper latrine.
with a bucket in the bottom of it. I don't
Yeah.
know why they bothered putting a bucket down there.
Yeah.
And then a wooden box built over it they put a toilet seat on it at the very least.
Yeah.
And then a very small hornet infested shed over the top.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? It needed to be that though. I feel like for this holiday to have been as experienced as we did,
Yeah.
it needed to be a bit rough.
Yeah.
Didn't
Rough
it?
and ready. And
Yeah.
certainly we couldn't get away with it today. It just wouldn't
Just
happen.
wouldn't do it. You just wouldn't. It
Just-
wouldn't
there's
fly,
no-
would it? People wouldn't be happy with spending 300 or 400 quid on holiday
Yeah.
and pooping in a pit.
Yeah. But we did.
But we did. We put up with it. We took it.
And I remember, so we're fishing. We're catching fish. We are catching fish.
Yeah,
aren't
no,
we?
it was great.
Yeah.
I think they were all 18, 19 pounds.
Something
weren't
like
they?
that. We're catching fish, and we're catching them at a fairly consistent rate.
Yeah.
And
In fact, you could time it because we worked out the fish were swimming around the lake in a shoal.
yeah,
So my dad would start catching, and then I would start catching, and my dad would stop catching, and then you would start catching, and I would stop catching.
yeah,
Clive would then start catching, and you would stop catching, and then
Yeah.
everybody around the lake would start catching again
yeah,
until the afternoon when my dad started catching again.
yeah.
It was pretty good.
And we're using Richworth Esterberry.
Oh, the smell
The smell,
takes me back.
just a lovely sweet berry.
It's quite artificial.
Yeah,
Raspberry, blackberry flavour, I'd say.
yeah. But I've
Great,
still
though.
I've still got a little bottle of that at home.
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
pull it out every now and again. I give it a little
Just to-
sniff.
Get it in.
I remember sitting there though one day, just sort of I think we're building rigs, and your dad just said, "Oh, did you do anything out of my tackle box?" And he had the Fox system, didn't he?
Oh, the Fox system.
What a
tackle box.
system!
And he had a. When you look back at it now, it's like, yeah, he had a lot of stuff, but it wasn't like vast quantities.
Yeah,
It was just a bit of everything, wasn't it?
yeah,
But we just, when he said, yeah, take whatever you want,
Yeah.
do whatever you want with, make rigs, do stuff with my tag, because we mucked about.
yeah.
But one thing we never did was muck about with his fishing gear, did we?
No.
We never touched it.
No, never touched
We
it.
like my dad's fishing gear was a revered item,
Yeah,
wasn't it? We didn't we if we were feeling naughty, we might have a look at his alarms
Yeah.
or his reels, but we never did any. We never
Yeah,
touched the stuff.
never touched it.
And the day that he said, "Yeah, go in my tackle box and
Yeah.
make some rigs," me and Joe were like, "Oh my god!"
Oh,
Honestly, and the first thing we did was try and inject fluid into a boiler. It's like the first thing we did
Yeah.
was muck about.
yeah. But I can see how your dad would have built because at the time we're like, how do you even afford this?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're thinking
Well,
very singular about you got to have a few £100 and go buy it all at once.
Yeah, but you don't, do you?
no,
Buy,
he just went to the tackle shop every day and spent £5.
yeah, you
Didn't
buy
he?
a packet of hooks once
Yeah.
a week or once every,
And
a couple of times a week.
that's how he built up such a great
Vast collection of stuff.
of stuff,
Yeah,
and it was all great stuff, and yeah, really enjoyed it.
yeah,
Really enjoyed it.
yeah.
We had a Jamaican bailiff who was high all the time.
Just he was above the clouds.
Yeah.
Constantly,
And,
wasn't
and
he?
this was sort of early 2000s. Cannabis still was.
I think it would have been about 2000, 2001, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you couldn't walk the streets
You
with
couldn't-
cannabis
No, you couldn't walk around with cannabis in your pocket.
like you can now. You can walk around anywhere and puff it, and
yeah,
everyone would turn a blind eye.
yeah.
But then you couldn't, and he was just there blazing.
Ah. I mean, his tent was oozing out of his tent, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Because he didn't have anywhere to live. He lived in a bivvy.
Yeah,
Insane.
and what did he have? Did he have the Sky Pod, or was
He
that
definitely
SharePoint?
had the stuff that at the time we were all like, wow, look at that. I
Yeah.
do remember, I don't know if I remember this right, but at the very end, well, I'll skip to this end because I've mentioned it, but there was more issues. Anyway, we had a little go of casting with his gear, and he was a bit of I mean, you're a bailiff, you've got to be a bit of a know-it-all.
Yeah,
And he, he hoofed it out there, did a big cast, and everyone was like, wow, look at that. And then my dad had a go, and just blew him out of the water.
yeah.
And it was just like, oh, okay. And then the bloke reeled it in and went, right, putting that away now.
Yeah.
He did not want anyone
Yeah.
showing him up. Andy was the bloke's name, wasn't it?
Was it Andy? Was that his name?
Rasta Andy.
Rasta Andy.
Rasta Andy.
Come on, boys, it's dinner time.
That's it. And he wouldn't ring a bell or anything because it was a public lake. We couldn't all go to dinner at the same time.
Yeah.
It had to be one of you went and then the other went. So it used to be me, Dad, and Clive would go to dinner, and then me and you would go to dinner.
Oh, but we'd go first because they get more in seconds.
Yeah, they got more in seconds. Didn't they? That was it, yeah.
We'd get our single plate of food,
Yeah,
and
they
then
got double portions.
and then they got
That
double
was
portions.
fun, yeah. And that was funny, yeah. Because it was a public lake, he was like, well, your stuff might get nicked, so you can't all come to dinner at the same. And he would just shout.
Yeah.
There was no time, was
Yeah.
there? Do you remember? He would just step outside the crappy caravan that they cooked the food in and went, dinner! Across this lake.
Yeah,
Yeah, and half of us went and crawled our way over there.
yeah,
Funny. And the shower. Do you remember the shower?
yeah.
The shower.
Sneakers into it.
Snuck us into a campsite is what they did. He basically knew the bloke on the gate
Yeah,
who went, yeah, they're all out at lunch at the minute. Because we didn't realise this, but shower time, and we only went once, but shower time was midday.
yeah,
And why shower time midday? Because between 12 and 2 is French lunchtime. So everybody who worked at the campsite was at lunch.
yeah,
Which meant that they could sneak us in because he would bung the security guard a drink, and we would all go in and have a shower. We didn't realise this till after.
yeah.
Yeah, and then all come back and go, oh, that was an illegal shower we
Yeah.
took.
Just one shower.
One shower for the
Didn't
week.
matter though when you were a kid.
And we also swam in the lake every day. didn't we?
Yeah. Magical time. The journey back home was no consequence. Just got back.
It was slightly consequential because, as I mentioned a minute ago, the bus coming to pick us up was late.
Was it?
Yeah, because he got on the wrong ferry or something.
Oh.
I don't remember exactly. My dad will correct me when he listens to this later. You better be listening. And yeah, it was. I remember being late because for some reason on these fishing trips you don't get breakfast on the last day, and I could never really work out why.
Yeah.
I think it's because the bailiffs were lazy.
Yeah.
So I don't really know why you don't get breakfast on the last day, because it's the day you need breakfast.
Yeah.
Because the coach drivers and bus drivers are like, right, let's get home. You're like, oh, I'm hungry. Can't we stop? And they're like, no, we're going.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll just be hungry for 12 hours then. But that was our first. And the fishing was great.
Yeah.
Fishing was great. We went swimming every day.
Yeah.
The bait boat was very funny.
Was that where did
We
we
hired
hire the bait boat
We
and
hired
then
what was it? A
micro cat or something like that?
Angling Techniques micro cat, and I think it had impellers. It had like jet impellers,
And it always got caught up in the weeds.
and it just constantly, because we were all like, oh, it's got impellers, it will be fine in the weed.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh no, wait, what it does is it sucks it in. So it'd have been better with propellers because it
Yeah.
would have just pushed its way around it.
Yeah.
Whereas with the jets, it sucks the weed in and then dies, and
Yeah.
you've got to swim out there and pick it up.
And so these were built on the old nickel batteries or something, weren't they?
Lead acids, weren't they? Lead acid batteries with.
And they would have taken all day to charge, except for the fact Clive brought a car battery with him.
Yeah, yeah. So I remember this. Clive brought a car battery with him for some reason. It turned out to be quite useful.
As you do.
And it was like a drill battery.
Yeah.
But he brought the drill battery because he used it as a torch, didn't he? He had a torch that went. It was like an old DeWalt one. There was a torch on top of it.
Something like that.
And what we were doing is, because anything that needed charging in the past was a nightmare. Because what they did is they hired this boat out to you, but then got crappy with you when... Because what they wanted to do is they wanted to hire it out for 30 quid a week to each person.
Yeah.
And what we did is for 30 quid we hired it out for the four of us.
Yeah.
They weren't happy about that, I remember that. So when we said, oh, we need to charge it up, they used to get the because they didn't have electricity, you had to charge it on their generator.
Right.
That was the issue. So what we were doing was charging the lead acids for the boat off of Clive's car battery, and then the controller was being boosted off of this torch battery.
Killing all the batteries.
Just everything was getting knackered that week.
Yeah, but it didn't matter. What were they going to do? Great fun. I remember, so we got back and we're doing design technology, and we thought, let's build a bait boat, didn't we, at school?
Yeah, we did.
We were going to plastic form it on the vacuum machine.
Yeah,
we're going to
yeah.
do this, that, the other. We had, like everything, high aspirations. And
Oh yeah, high aspirations, and no idea.
I think what we did is print a sticker out or something. And
Oh, we might not even have done that. We might have just talked about it.
yeah.
We're quite good at talking.
Yeah.
In fact, this is the only real thing we've ever got on with, because it's just talking.
It's easy.
It's easy once you start. It's easy once you start.
We've got loads more to talk about fishing. I think this could be another series.
Oh, it's just, that's exactly what it's going to be.
I think we can call that part one. Because
It
we've got to the end of
stops at
GTS.
a really nice point
Yeah.
of, like, that was the GTS tours. That holiday was the launch pad for our fishing careers going forward.
Yeah.
Weren't they? That was the, here we go, boys.
Yeah.
From that point, we didn't pick up a course rod again for 10 years.
Maybe longer.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And it was, great fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll end it there, shall we?
We'll end it there. This is part one of fishing.
Of many, yeah.
It's not exclusively carp fishing, but
No, but carp fishing is a lot of it.
it's a big part of it.
There's a lot more to come.
And
a lot more to come.
yeah, we'll pick this back up in a
we
few
may
weeks'
even
time.
get some special guests in on the fishing one because, yeah.
We'll have to fly him in.
Well, if he'll do it, it will be great.
He'll do it. He'll sit him in the corner.
Yeah.
Get a microphone on.
Yeah. If we can do that, because there
Yeah.
are, I'm gonna say it. It's me, Dad. Yes, Dad. Yes, you.
Simon.
Yes, you. He's at the moment. He's going, no, they're not doing that. They're not putting a microphone. No, but they won't do it. You're not going to get me to do it. But we've got some good stories, and he's got some great stories. Yeah. He's got, yeah, because he was fishing when it was the Wild West.
Yeah,
and it was So one day, hopefully, and my brother's got a few. Yeah, I know my sister's got a few. So.
There we go.
We'll bring
family affair.
A family affair. Right. Well, thanks for listening.
Tight lines.
We'll see you in the next one. Tight lines. Tight lines, boys and girls. Tight lines. Thanks for listening.
Bye-bye.
Where the bad pianos start to show, keys all out of tune, just watch them go. Welcome to Adam and Joe talking nonsense on the Outside Scoop podcast show.